That's the most egregious example, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are other people who did similar things, but this guy didn't even make investments.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he was literally just sort of taking money, and when someone cashed out, he would it was like who's that little girl?
Lil Tay.
Little Tay. Yeah, exactly. He was just like throwing. He had a big pile of cash, and he would take some in and throw some out. But if the SEC had at any time just looked at his books and said, "What are you invested in?" It all would have, that whole house of cards would have fallen. And
he didn't invest in anything?
No, and he wasn't making trades. He wasn't doing anything, And there are a bunch of stories like this. There's a great book called The Octopus, which is about somebody who did a Madoff-like scam, another hedge fund, where same thing. They weren't really making trades. They were just sort of creating phony profit and loss statements and creating records that look like trades that they could tell their investors about, but they weren't actually doing anything. So if any expert at any time had just poked their nose into this person's books, they would have seen it in 10 seconds. That's the amazing thing about this. Not to get back to my drug dealing book, but this is one of the things that he says, which is that you can be in a poor black neighborhood, and a couple of kids will be on a cell phone talking about selling $10 worth of weed, and they'll be picked up by cops, within 20 minutes or something like that. Meanwhile, somebody like Bernie Madoff can commit $100 million frauds year after year after year and not even take any effort to try to cover it up all that well.